Like, what are we doing?
Corey Graves, the ignorant slut. Cannot pronounce the word coup de grace. He says coup de grace.
Welcome back to This is a Takeover. My name is David Hensley. I am the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am here to introduce your host, Shelby Death Ray Patterson.
Thank you, David, and welcome to This is a Takeover. I'm Shelby Death Ray Patterson.
And I'm Gina Bellmont. Hey, y'all, hey.
You didn't say your name.
To be honest, I don't want to.
You don't like it? Oh, she doesn't like it.
No, it's just...
Oh, David's heartbroken.
I came up with that.
Okay, hang on. Are we talking about the one dogs gave me or the one you gave me?
Well, I think they're the same thing. Gina, bless your heart, Belmont.
Oh, okay, because originally he told me another one.
Oh, what did he tell you?
What was that? What was the one he told you?
I blocked it out.
Oh, my God.
It was that bad, huh?
Wow. Yeah. We'll have to go back and listen.
I will.
I don't remember. Anyway... Hi. We're here to talk about NXT Vengeance Day, but first off, how are you doing, Gina?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. You can tell we don't do these very much.
No,
anymore.
It's been a hot minute.
Oh, man. We've missed everyone.
Oh, so much.
Well,
hello.
Oh, my goodness. So, first off, what are we drinking tonight?
What are we drinking? Indeed, we are drinking a lovely Chardonnay, but I don't quite remember the brand name.
It's Sea Glass.
Sea Glass.
Yep, Sea Glass. It's what?
It's a California Chardonnay.
Wow, you already know so much.
There's a map of California on the back of the bottle.
I was going to give you credit. The listeners don't know that you're looking right at the bottle. Like, roll with me, Gina. Just roll with me.
As I like to remind Dogs and Chris, and also Stan, this is an audio medium.
Yes.
I feel like we have to work that somehow into every episode.
At least I don't say viewers anymore and I say listeners.
Yeah, you did have to catch that. We don't have video yet.
Nobody yet. Oh no.
Because we do have an upgrade to this studio. So we are in Kayfabe Outpost 1
Heyo.
right now, but we have these really cool mics now.
They are lovely.
And obviously you can't see this because you're listening, but they are like raised up and we're usually like hunched over, which is really nice.
They look like really fancy, beautiful cranes.
They do.
Yeah, it only took me almost 4 years of doing this podcast, but I finally upgraded us from tabletop mic stands to articulated arms. Like you'd see.
I love that this is an articulated arm.
Yes.
I like it.
Quite
AKA
fancy.
boom hole.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, we appreciate it. This is
Yes.
very nice.
We feel fancy.
So, friends,
Yes.
we are here to talk about NXT Vengeance Day.
Ooh.
And I'm going to be honest, going into this, I did not have any hope.
None.
At all. And this show has broken me of that, if you will. Like,
I wish you could have seen the look in her eyes just then, y'all.
I still have my tabletop hope.
Yes.
Right? I bring it
We
to
just
work
have
with me.
articulated arm hope now.
Exactly. And it's here and it's sitting here, but you know, it's this show has been so frustrating to me. And I have said before that I'd stopped watching weekly, and that was sad for me because I was kind of what they call like an NXT lifer.
Yes.
Right? Like I was like, I don't care like what this show is. Like this is my show.
Yes.
Like everybody was hopping on the AEW train and like jumping over, and I was like, you know what? I have NXT still. Like NXT still great. Like I can still stomach WWE. Like it's fine.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know famous last words, right? Like I feel like I kind of shot myself in the foot on that one. But I will say this show really made me happy.
It gave me a glimmer of like a little bit into the fast-paced, not darker, but you know what I mean, like the original side of a pay-per-view.
Well,
for NXT.
it focused on the wrestling, which shocker. You focus on the wrestling for a wrestling show.
Minus half of the show being vignettes, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but when they didn't have the vignettes, like if you took the vignettes and the promos and whatever else was in there.
Yeah.
If you take all that shit out, it was a solid show. And it reminded me of how it used to be.
Exactly.
And the shit that I didn't fast forward through was really fun. You know?
That's true. It's true.
But let's just get into it.
Let's go.
So at the beginning, usually at takeovers, they have some sort of like video package,
yes,
right, where it kind of displays like
here's
what's
everything. That's going down.
Exactly. Well, they did this weird like play on Valentine's Day, which I understand. We watched this late. We did not watch this when it aired.
No.
But it did air on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And Vengeance Day is supposed to be like the grungy alternative to Valentine's Day, which I'm like, yes, all for that. I love all that. Because we are also the group that gets together and watches horror movies on Valentine's Day instead of doing all the sappy shit.
And then there was me going and doing the sappy shit, but that's
well,
fine.
and that's how our friendship
and
works.
It's great.
We balance each other out.
It is
it's true.
Great.
So I'm fine with that, but they did this weird like, let's show toxic attraction like all like by the pool and like draped on their beds texting each other about the guys of NXT.
Ew.
And like who they're gonna date next.
What is this, a 2000s like horror movie?
It was weird. Like they did that and then just like superimposed footage from over the last like month or so to kind of hype up like, so that whenever they would show like,
I definitely fast forwarded this by accident, but yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
that's totally. I wish I did, honestly. But I was like, no, like we'll see what the beginning vignette is at least, and because I had heard that this show was very vignette heavy.
Lord have mercy, my
So I
goodness,
was
half
like,
the show could have been taken out. The whole other half of the hour. I mean, honestly, I feel like it could have been.
It was about an hour vignette.
Yeah, and then an hour of wrestling.
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous. So it was just weird. Like it was just very, very strange. It was like they were trying to stick with the we're being PG-13 now 2.0 and the old grungy, NXT. Like they're still trying to do this hybrid, and I'm like, I feel like you just need to either go all in on the old way or all in on this new way.
Yes.
Like they're trying to make everybody happy, and I feel like,
well, except for the people who have actually been there for a really long time, but
well, yes, because we don't want it to go away.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, if you're gonna make it like, what is it?
Yeah.
Strong but wrong.
it's true, wrong,
Right?
but wrong.
That's the note that we would always get in school. Like strong but wrong. Like make a choice, even if it's the wrong one.
Own up to it and then
Own
keep
up
going.
to exactly. Own up to your choice. And I just don't feel like,
They're ready to commit.
which is weird.
Very.
Like if you make a commitment for an entire blank
To completely change something from the core, like out.
it's weird.
It's dumb.
So we move into the first match. It's a great transition, Shelby. Great job. Thank you.
It was straight to the point.
We have Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo in a weaponized steel cage match.
Okay, I'm going to say this really quickly because
Say it.
most of the time when we talked about a takeover, we always talked about the set. And we talked about the design and all that. So this match is in a steel cage match. I just have to say this because a long time ago when I was in middle school, I did a production of Rent Jr.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yes, David. Yes. We'll discuss that in great detail later.
No. Fuck NXT. I want to hear what exactly. Like, does Rent Jr. not have all the deaths by AIDS?
It's school edition. So
okay, no, there's a difference.
there is a difference.
Oh my God, hold on. Is Rent Jr. all about the cooties epidemic of the 80s and 90s?
Oh Lord, I don't need to know. But I did the school edition. I'm sorry, that is a
Yes.
statement that is needed to be corrected. I did the school edition. So we built the set. And the set were these chicken wire, huge ass, like 5 by like 10, like big gigantic things.
Yeah.
And they shoved literal trash. We went and dumpster dived and threw on these toys and threw on these like trash can things. And I swear I looked at that set and I looked at that cage and I stared at it and I had flashbacks to doing Rent school edition in middle school, being like, oh man, we thought we were so edgy and we weren't, and it looks like garbage.
Now I'm just picturing like baby Gina like
I have some
going
pictures.
through the dumpster.
I have some pictures.
And getting like a ratty ass teddy bear and just like sticking it into the wall. Like, did they really make you dumpster dive?
We went through some of the old stuff. There was a Habitat Restore that was next door.
Oh, okay.
But we picked the stuff that was like 25 cents because we were
it's a theater department, so you have no money.
And we were a community, like
community theater.
Community, like it was like a summer vacation like camp thing. Oh yeah, so we had
no money.
Literally nothing. So
It makes a lot of sense to me for a middle school production of Rent because Seasons of Love by itself just counts as a math lesson.
It's true. They hear like your teacher's pitching it, and I promise listeners we'll get back to NXT.
I promise we'll get back.
But your teacher's like pitching it to the principal to like get it approved, and they're like they play them the first song, and they're like, "Oh, this is great. This is perfect. This is like math and arts like integral together."
None of them will ever forget how many minutes there are in a year.
Never.
Yeah,
this
never.
is great. And then the principal only listens to like one that first song, the first opener, and he's like, approved. It's great.
Nailed it.
Perfect.
Yep.
So that was the vibes that you were getting.
The
from this
vibe I
match?
got was a middle school group of kids built and decided where to put the trash can hanging, where to put the freaking sledgehammer, which was never used.
I didn't even know there was a sledgehammer.
There was a whole sledgehammer. There were tons of amazing weapons that were up for grabs, literally.
In their defense, they did use a lot of
They
it.
did,
But
they did.
I did not see a sledgehammer at
so
all.
right behind.
Was that a Triple H reference?
Oh, I know.
He
I'm
was there.
sad.
He was there in the cage.
Oh, I know. I'm sad.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I brought the mood down. I'm so sorry.
I was about to make a really bad joke and be like, my heart.
Wait, was
It's
it was
broken like his.
No, also, I'm pretty sure that sledgehammer was a Peter Gabriel reference.
Shelby's so upset with me right now. That was a good joke. End of show.
Oh my god.
And cut. We're done. Okay.
Anyway, so they had. I mean, it was trash can lids, kendo sticks.
Oh, yes.
There was a toolbox, which is my absolute favorite thing that they use. There was a spot where
Choked on it. Sorry.
because there's sometimes, and I know Dogs says this a lot with cage matches, how he thinks that people don't use the cage enough in steel cage matches.
Yeah.
I feel like Dunn just immediately started throwing him into the cage, and
He's
he was just like,
how
"Oh,
can I hurt him?
I heard the note from South Carolina.
I heard dogs.
I heard David Two Dogs Hayes. He's a fan. I know he is, and he says that we don't use the cage enough. Well,
You know what?
here you go, sir. And just, throws him back and forth, throws him into the trash can that's on the wall.
Yes. That was a fun spot.
Yeah, but I felt like they just used the cage beautifully. Like
yes.
they did a really good job with it.
I mean, to be honest, I was expecting Dunn to carry this. I really
Yes.
was. But D'Angela's doing all right, man.
he is...
funny.
When he debuted, I immediately, with every fiber of my being, rejected this man. Like, I was like, nope, this is this Guido ass bullshit that I am not here for. Like, I cannot deal with the fake, like,
Joking on my spit.
it's like you with the 2.0 guys.
Long
right?
Walk
Yes.
Productions would like to apologize to the Italian community.
I'm sorry, people who have seen this, they know what I'm talking about. Like, when he first debuted, these vignettes were just awful.
Hey, I'm walking across the street here. I'm in Brooklyn. Like, that's literally how he talked.
It was
Yeah. awful.
So
I mean, he still talks that way, but he is.
I love our Italian listeners. I
Yes.
apologize, but that was the only way I knew how to describe it, and that's just how I'm gonna go. Like, I'm not the first one who has said that.
yeah.
Like,
I feel like that is a very bad stereotypical character type.
It is.
It's called
and,
that.
and that was in the very beginning of the whole 2.0 brand switch.
Yes.
Where we were just inundated with all of these like crazy characters. Like they weren't even people anymore.
No, they are characters.
Yeah. So I feel like he has really gotten a handle and gotten over with the crowd.
He can move. He can do some. And I even said in my notes here, I loved the drop from the top of the cage.
That was awesome.
That was dope.
Yeah.
And Dunn sold that.
Well,
Or,
they had
sorry,
had us.
Dunn sold that.
I was about to say,
I've been trying.
You're calling him by his government name.
It really hurt to say it that
Are
way.
you not on
But I'm
like
not gonna
first
be like,
name basis anymore?
Well, no, but I mean, with these mics, I'm so close. I don't want to be like all the way up on it and be like, Dune.
Well, I mean, you just you have to be you, you know. There you go. And there was the spot where it was with the toolbox, which I feel like
That was a great spot.
whenever there is a toolbox in a cage match, I just get really excited. I was like, what's in there? You know, like
magic box.
My like, you know, what is it? The violence part of me or whatever it is that we call it, like just gets really giddy whenever there's violence that's going on the screen.
That would be the violence part of you.
Yeah, I guess. Whenever I see a toolbox, there's like, you know, tons of shit that could be in there and it's super fun.
Oh, and he used the wrench beautifully with his fingies and his tendies.
First, he like closed the, like stomped on the toolbox with his hands in there.
Curb stomped it.
So you did that part with the fingies first, and then he gets the wrench and then just like completely bends.
Yeah, he puts the finger in the part where you like
like
well, I'm
the circular part where we don't know tools.
No. I was gonna say what tightens the nut, but I was assuming he was gonna make a joke about that, so that's why I was gonna.
He's not even paying attention. It's fine.
Tighten the nut.
Yep, there it is. Okay,
That's all he has.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
or the bolt, I guess I should say. But
Yeah.
anywho, so they like he would shove his finger in there and then pull back and wrench back.
He did like a full like
wrench back.
Oh God. Yes, he did.
Okay, we'll keep going.
And he did that and then did the suplex off
Yeah,
of the top.
that
I'm
was-
just it was great.
It was a really good match.
And there
Why
was
were you worried about me?
David, we're always worried about you. You're our producer.
We care about you, David.
But there was also another spot where D'Angelo zip ties Dunn's hands behind his back, and he still somehow figures out a way to choke him out with his hands. But the first thing that I thought of was Elimination Chamber. And the whole Ronda Rousey, like, one hand tied behind her back thing. I'm like, that's how you do it.
Honestly, no one was gonna use that. Like, maybe that's why they got it. It's because they were like, oh my gosh.
Well, technically, Vengeance Day
oh no, it was
happened
before. You're right. See, my brain
Yeah.
is out of order because of show brain and all of that. But
Yes, we watched Elimination Chamber before we watched
We did.
Vengeance Day.
We did.
So that happened before. So he
Yes.
zip ties both of his hands behind his back and then is still able to somehow slip his head,
That was
D'Angelo's
awesome.
head into his elbow.
Yes.
And just like squeezes. Like
He made that in his head.
also he made that noise and then he also made like the bam, bam.
Oh
with
my
his
gosh,
punches.
guys. I wish you guys could have heard me laughing my ass off on my lunch break today, rewatching this, and literally hear him go,
like making
Time he
noises.
punched him. I
See-
was like, D'Angelo, don't ever change. Don't ever change.
You're perfect. Don't ever change.
You have peaked right here. That is it.
Which is, it's little character things like that that I really appreciate. And I'm like, you know what? You're fine. You're a 2.0 guy that I'm cool with.
Yep.
You know? So you go from me like, you've just like having go away heat with me to, okay, I appreciate this character. And it has mellowed out a lot, which I'm happy about. But so fast forward to the finish of this. Mm-hmm. It was probably one of the more crazier finishes of the night because so Tony raises him up because they have a table that is just precariously just leaning in the corner.
It's just looming.
And the whole time the crowd is chanting the "We want tables" thing. And I
Yes.
just,
oh my gosh.
part of me just wants one of them to look at them and be like, patience. We have to build to this. I can't just throw them through the table, right? So they started we want tables chant like 5 minutes in.
It was very,
I'm like,
very early.
You guys are new. Like, you are so new.
I actually wanted to bring up how they have either picked very select people for that middle section, or they're finally letting actual fans back in, and I can't decide which one it is.
So it's a little bit of both.
And that's
because
what I'm
they
thinking.
are actually letting fans back in.
Because
but there is a stage manager that is there that is
There
kind
it
of
is.
directing the
There it is.
crowd because
Okay.
I listened to the Wrestle Talk podcast.
was it on there?
And they were talking about someone who was writing into them because they were asking the same thing. Because they were like, it seems very unison, which is really weird for an NXT crowd. Like NXT crowds are like notorious for like doing dual chants with one another and kind of fighting each other with the chants.
And like there was like snippets of that back again with this one, which is why I started being like, oh, like I don't hear as much piping in, which
I don't think they did as much, but
No,
I think it was
there were
because they
some-
had that center section.
That
I think
center
that they
section
were
that
actually
went
controlling.
bananas.
And they were saying like, yeah, there's a person that's kind of like a stage manager or like a crowd manager that kind of just like tells you who to cheer for and like what chants to do and like if you're being loud enough, if you're doing the right thing.
You know the scene in Shrek where they're holding up applause.
And then
Applause,
flip it.
Yes, that.
It's like that. But
I hope it is.
I haven't seen any actual signs, so I guess maybe they come out during commercial break or
All
something.
right, guys, this next event is going to be this. You're going to cheer for you in the purple shirt. You're going to cheer for this guy.
And you know how I feel about that. Like, don't tell me how to feel.
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do and don't tell me how to feel. Like, I want to chant for who I want to chant for. And if I were there,
push the
I
red
would
button.
sit in the middle section on purpose and then go against what their cheer is because I don't like that stuff.
No.
It's not organic to me,
No.
which is the same reason why we have such issue with the piped in noise in the crowd because it's just it's not organic. Like you're trying to skew us into a direction that you want us to go in.
Yeah.
But that's not the purpose of live events. Like
But
if you wanted to do that, you could do that at like for your video game or for
Yes.
like a pre-recorded thing. Like you can do whatever you want to with that, but for a live event that people are watching live, you're going to know, like when we were watching Elimination Chamber, they panned to the crowd and there was a Goldberg chant that nobody was doing.
saying.
Like it was very clear that they
Well-
were not doing it.
Well, the thing that I guess that I'm confused about with this crowd and with this is that are they then, and it's going to be a match, the main event match, but most of the crowd was cheering for people that I was not expecting them to because
Yeah.
I was expecting the chant for Braun Breaker, the chants for like this, like the other, like I was expecting them to be chanting fully for Braun Breaker, but we'll talk more in detail about that.
Yeah,
But-
that's
so
interesting.
That's why I'm having a confused feeling about it is that, so are they actually listening to what they're being told to do, or are they just being NXT and just saying, no, we're going to cheer for what we want?
I mean, there might be that like middle section that's doing what they're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing because they're the people
'Cause-
that they bring in. But when you let live fans come in,
Yeah.
you know, like they're
What you
gonna
gonna do?
They're gonna do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, because the Santos cheers were so strong.
They were very loud. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get
But-
back to this.
You have the finish. Tony goes to hit him with a crowbar, right? Because that's been their thing.
Yes.
That started back at War Games. Tony somehow
I
like
almost yelled it.
snuck in a crowbar.
He did.
And that's how he beat Dunn, and that's how this whole feud started.
Yep.
So Tony goes to pull a crowbar out, and Dunn has hidden one ever so cleverly in the corner by the door. And he pulls it out without D'Angelo seeing it, and then just runs him through with it. Also, before that, Pete Dunne completely obliterated him with a cricket bat, and it completely splintered in two, like over his back.
How did I forget that one?
Yeah. At first, I thought it was a kendo stick, like a bunch of them together, and then apparently his thing has been the cricket bat.
Oh, that's what I
And-
thought it was kendo sticks too. That's why I was like, when you said cricket bat, I was like, oh, I missed that one.
Yeah. So his thing's been the cricket bat,
That's
and
cool.
Tony's has been the crowbar.
Okay, guys.
Which I think
Okay.
it makes sense with their characters.
Yeah.
But Tony goes to hit him with the crowbar. Pete has one of his own, hits him in the stomach, and does a bitter end on the broken table.
It was
because earlier Pete had thrown D'Angelo, done a power bomb like through the table, and so it was like already broken. I mean, Tony took the bitter end on his face,
Full face.
onto the broken table.
Yeah.
Like it was
There was no dodging it.
nah. Like it was nasty. Like it was really good. And Pete Dunne wins.
Yay!
I was kind of surprised
Same
because
here.
they've been really putting over their 2.0 guys.
Yeah.
And Pete is not one of those guys.
Yeah.
So I was fully like ready to see an entire night of just 2.0 people winning. But I felt like this made sense because he's the bruiserweight and like he's
gonna bruise
super
you.
brutal. Like it makes sense that he would win this, steel cage match. So I gave it a 4.
I honestly would agree
Like
with you.
I thought it was really, really good. I don't know if I've
Truthfully,
ever given an opener a 4 before.
Not even that, but a 2.0 opener.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't-
definitely not. I
No.
haven't given no. But so yeah, I gave it a 4. I thought it was really good.
I think that's fair.
And yes, listeners, we are still doing Regals, even
Yes.
though he is not with us anymore. Thought about it and I was like, oh, maybe we should change
No.
it. No. He brought us to
What
the
would
dance
we do?
and
4
we
paint
will,
cans?
God, or paint splatters.
Paint splatters? No.
That's what they call them now, the paint splattered brand. It's not the black and gold brand anymore. It's the
Ew.
paint splattered brand. I know. It's weird. So no paint splatters.
You could always measure it in H's. Like a top score is a Triple H.
Table that. I'll think about that. I'll think
Feelings.
both. Well, he's still technically here.
I know, but
I am going to think about that. That was a good idea.
good job, David.
So
Good job.
we literally after every single match
Is a vignette.
is a stupid little vignette, and so basically it's like they took a takeover and a regular episode of NXT
Yes.
and just tried to mesh it together.
That's exactly what it was.
And I just don't think it works
At all. No.
Like you have this like really awesome like heart pounding match, and then you go into this like silly training montage with Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade. Like it doesn't make sense.
it also not only doesn't make sense like for the just watching and the viewing, but character wise, like, okay, how does this build your characters? How does this make them prepare for whatever the next match is or whatever? Like how does this build? I don't understand, like, other than them being like, oh, we're wacky at 5 a.m. and we're gonna go work out. Like, when has Raquel ever been the one that's like the wacky 90s sitcom kind of like?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And I was like,
Yeah.
like Cora Jade, yeah, I can see that passing, but Raquel, no. Like,
I think part of that is they're throwing these people together because they're trying to give them something to do.
exactly.
And also what is happening is that these vignettes are not character driven
At all.
They are event driven.
Yeah.
So
Which they think is the same.
right. So they are like, oh, we're going to build up the women's Dusty Tag Team Classic that's coming up, right? So we're going to put this vignette in there with Raquel and Cora because they're a team. We don't care what they actually say as long as they talk about the Dusty Cup, right? So that's why like the characters are shit because they're not like focused on the character. They're focused on the event that they're talking about.
Wait a minute. So remember how we were bitching earlier at Vic Joseph? Sorry, Vic. We love you dearly. But how you said, oh, this is a limited commercial.
Yes.
This entire thing was a commercial then. Because they're literally advertising their own stuff.
Yeah.
On top of their own stuff with Elimination Chamber on top of, yeah.
So it's like commercial inception.
I don't remember what the theme of Inception is.
Wom.
There it
we
is.
go.
Thank you.
Thank you, movie expert.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have a top to spin. Sorry.
So I mean, I'm not going to talk about every single vignette because there
Lord,
were
no.
so many. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
trust me, listeners. They were dumb.
Yeah.
They were all dumb.
Poor Dakota.
I
That's all I'm going to say
know.
about that one. Poor Dakota.
I know. So after the steel cage match, we have the women's tag team championship match with Toxic Attraction and versus Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta.
That's a great name.
Persia Pirotta.
Persia Pirotta.
It's good. You do the tingles.
You know that scene in Lion King? Mufasa. Ooh.
Say it again.
Ooh. Persia Pirotta. Ooh.
So this is the problem, or one of the problems I have with Toxic Attraction. I think that all three of them, Mandy Rose included, are all pretty good wrestlers. I'm not going to say that they're great.
Yeah. I think Gigi Dolan is above all of them.
I agree.
I think
she has the most promise out of the three of them.
Absolutely.
My issue is that the only thing that they convey is the message of, oh my God, we're so sexy.
Boobies.
Right? Like there's nothing else to us except that we are sexy. And I have an issue with that because that's not it. Right? Like that's not going to convince me. Now it may convince like the 13, 14-year-old boy that they're wanting to watch this, that they are good wrestlers, but it's not convincing me.
To the people who actually know wrestling.
Right. And yes, I know, like back in the Attitude Era, when the standards for women were very, very low when it came
to the ground
to being a wrestler, right? Like they were actually buried underneath, like the bar was buried in the ground back then, right? But now we have taken the bar and we've dug it up, and now it's even on par, and in some feds even higher than the men. I think this is taking an extremely huge hit to the bar and making it go back down into the ground when you do this.
I mean, it's feet back. It's not steps back. It's feet back.
Well, I mean, it just goes, even just the very opening vignette when all they're doing is just lounging by in the pool in a bikini or on their bed, in really revealing clothes, texting, even stuff like that. It makes me forget that they are a wrestler. To me, it diminishes the amount of hard work that they've put into training.
I think the thing that also I am having a hard time with is like what we said earlier with go all in one way or the other. So if only a select few of your women's wrestlers are dressed like this for sexual appeal, then what are you saying about your other wrestlers that you, quote, do not think are the idealized body? What do you say about, I'm going to be honest, people who are not white?
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that out there. Because
all three of them
are. Three of them are, Gigi Dolan is fluorescent like me. She is fluorescently white. And with that highlighter orange hair, which is dope, but that's what I don't get. It's okay, so obviously you guys have preferences for these, or, he who shall not be named has preference for them. But I don't know. I'm not advocating for them all to be sexy because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But it's saying more that those three women specifically are the super idolized sexy ones.
No, I agree. And then you look at the people who they are up against in this match, who I think, everybody struggled, I think, in this match. This was by far my least favorite.
Yeah, this one was tough.
And I hate that because I love Indy.
You know how I feel.
And I do love Persia. I think Persia is really, has really shown up very quickly.
She did a beautiful move.
I think she did better than Indy.
She ran laps. There was a moment where she double stacked Gigi and, what's her name?
JC.
Thank you, JC. And on top of each other, and then did a slam with both of them. It was beautiful. It was done marvelously.
It was very Bianca Belair style, right? You just kind of lift people. She lifts people up with
it's
ease
nothing
and throws them. It's great. It's really fun to watch.
Yes.
But I thought it was really interesting because Mandy was ringside, and she's women's champion right now. Ugh. And so she interferes in the first 5 minutes,
And then
it is blatantly.
Oh yeah.
And she gets thrown out.
Which I wrote, yay!
Like it was, but it was just, it felt very planned. You know,
Exactly.
like there were moments where I think she tried to interfere beforehand and didn't get noticed.
Yeah.
So she tried to blatantly interfere multiple times to get the ref to notice her.
You know what it was? What if she like had to be somewhere and being like, hey guys, like my mom's having like a surgery and I have to be here, and then like book it out of here, because it's not like we see her again.
Yeah.
I'm just joking, but you know what I mean? Like she had somewhere to be. She was like, oh, just go ahead and eject me. I gotta go. Like,
Yeah, maybe, because she came back out at the end of the match.
That is- yes, that is true.
Yeah, at the finish, but like it was strange. It felt very forced and
Yeah.
very like she was trying
Normally-
to do it multiple times.
normally they build, you know,
Yes.
it's like, oh, haha, like ref didn't see it, like, huh. And then like,
Right, they do like a simple like leg sweep when they're on the
Yes.
apron, and then
they
run
grab the
away.
rope while the
Yes.
person's trying to go up, and but there was no build.
Yeah, it was all over the place. I feel like, because like Gigi and Indy, whenever they would go in together, like it was very clunky. Like even you could tell, even in the picture commercial, it was very slow and
Yes.
really clunky. And I don't know, it was kind of disappointing.
It
because
was.
Indy was on a hot streak for a while when she was with Candace, and then Candace leaves, and you know, I guess she just kind of is floating because the way kind of break up, like kind of silently. So she doesn't really have anywhere to go. So now she's with her quote unquote best friend Persia, who has been her best friend forever, and we just never have seen her.
Yeah, she just magically
Like
appeared.
one day she's like, yeah, we're best friends. I'm like,
Okay.
you like weren't even in her wedding. Like what?
Yeah,
Like, this is
you
weird.
went to the bachelorette thing at
Oh,
the
that's-
dinner.
okay, yeah, that's
that
right,
was the
she
first
wasn't
time
there.
we saw her.
Yeah. So I didn't enjoy this one. And the finish was, I don't even.
Lackluster.
I don't even know what it was called. Like the announcers didn't even say anything, which I have noticed since the rebrand, they have not been calling moves
No.
as much on commentary.
Which is the whole reason that I really enjoyed watching NXT, because I didn't know what the hell I was watching, and then they explained it to me.
Well, and even, I mean, I know a little bit more than you do, and even I'm relying on what they're saying, because I don't know the difference between specific moves.
And half of them are made up to fit with a character. That's literally like
Right.
the point.
Like, I think Braun Breaker's finish was the only one that was actually said on commentary. Like, it's just little
Makes
things,
sense.
little things like that. It's like you don't think we're paying attention, but like,
Husband.
get it together.
Husband.
Wade, are you listening?
Barrett. Where are you?
Do better. Do better. But it's fine.
Your shit together.
Do better, but it's fine, but it's not.
I love you, bye.
So the finish is it's a hit combo finish with Toxic Attraction, and
Yep.
they retain. I gave it a 3. It was fine. It was okay.
I honestly would have given it a 2.
I mean, there were still moments of it that were
that
okay.
double stack was pretty dope.
Yes, I think that saved it for me.
Honestly.
That saved it from a 2.5 to a 3
That's
for
fair.
me. The only vignette that I actually really enjoyed was LA Knight and Grayson Waller.
See, I disagreed with that.
Oh,
but
you
that's,
didn't like
But
that?
that's also because I was just like, I'm supposed to be rooting for LA Knight right now.
It's weird.
I don't like this. I don't accept this.
He
and
is-
honestly, I was just like, I can't, because he's still a douche bagel, and I can't do it, man.
He can still be a face and a douche bagel at the same time.
That's fair.
He
That's
can.
fair.
That's an acceptable thing.
I also just kept staring at these officers who are clearly not officers, who just borrowed knockoff shield gear.
it was a tactical vest. It was
Like,
not even.
no.
Didn't even say police on it.
No,
I'm
not
like-
even like, you could have put like literally like, you know, just like whatever security, like, and nope.
Part of me wishes that they were like fake jobbers that were on LA Knight's side, who just like snuck in and then completely turned on Grayson, and that would have been funny.
Dope. That would have been awesome.
So
I paid them off with all my money that I have.
yeah, because he has money that we haven't talked about.
At all.
You know, it's
Even though that was his entire MO when he first started, but whatever.
we
We
remember
need to
these
write
things.
for this.
But so Grayson Waller wants him arrested
For something
because he hit him.
that's not how
That's basically what it was.
yeah.
And I want to be like, you know, you're a wrestler, right? Like, you're gonna get hit. Like,
Oh yeah, and then
it's petty. It's petty, but I kind of love it because he still has go home heat from when he interrupted Johnny's farewell speech, and people still hate him for it.
I think honestly he had to turn heel from that point on. I think that literally they were like,
Well, I think he did
You
it on
can't-
purpose because
Yeah,
they
that's
knew
fair.
Johnny was leaving, and they were like, okay, like something has to happen, and someone,
like, you're gonna turn heel, kid,
yeah, and because he was
Yeah.
kind of floating.
not knowing what to do.
And yeah,
That's
so
fair.
I think it was the best thing for him, I think, was to do that because now he is established as the asshole that beat up Johnny Gargano on his last NXT show. You know, so I think it's brilliant. I think it's good. That's good storytelling to me because now everybody has a reason to hate him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that is hard for me with some of these characters, like even on Raw and SmackDown. It's hard for me to really get invested and to know why I hate you rather than just hating you to hate you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to give me a reason.
Like there's a reason we hated like Dakota Kai for a long time.
Because she, attacked Tegan.
We also had a reason to for a long time dislike Raquel, but that was more of just how bad her botch was. But
There was a reason
there's
behind
reasons.
it. Exactly.
There's no reason for like why we hate. But the one thing I did want to understand for character wise, because I did watch the last little bit of it, because while I was skipping through, he's going through LA Knight's going through the freaking legal jargon,
and he says on page 2 and then throws about 4 sheets of paper behind him and looks at the very last one.
because how did you know that's what I was gonna say?
I know.
How did you know that?
Because it's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I was like, that's like page like 8, but whatever. But then he goes, you can't put a hand on me or something like that. And I was just sitting there going,
He basically gets off on a technicality is what it
Yes.
is. So the restraining order gets dropped because on the second page, which is really like the 8th page of the document, it says that, if Grayson Waller
Yeah.
touches him or
Then,
hits him, then the restraining order is dropped. And first off, whoever is a part of Grayson's legal team needs to be fired.
because a restraining order is not even someone that's not even what you use to get someone arrested. That's not even how that works. That alone kept bothering me throughout the whole segment.
Yeah.
Because a restraining order, you want to be as far as freaking possible away from that person. That's what a restraining. But anyway,
You're not going to bring the police to their house.
yes, I want a restraining order and to arrest that person. That's not how this works.
Arrest that man.
Arrest.
So basically what we take away from it is LA Knight's face now. And it's just something that we have to accept,
I hate it.
which is fine. And then, more vignettes. And
vignettes.
Dolph Ziggler's on NXT now, which we
What?
totally missed. But it's because we're not watching.
Well, but
He-
apparently Tommaso Ciampa is on Raw or SmackDown.
He's on Raw because Dolph's on Raw. I think they're... So basically, now that Vince
I was
is
ready
quote
for you to talk
unquote
about this.
in charge, now we can do cross promoting.
Oh, now we can talk about everybody
Now
else's
we can
show.
talk about NXT and acknowledge the fact that it exists, and not only do that, but have someone who's a prominent person on NXT come on and be commentary for your other show. It's weird. It's weird how we have now shifted to now that's okay to do, and now we're gonna have all of these Raw people come down
and then have
and
an extra NXT show on Friday.
yeah. So David, I don't know if you have heard about this, but there is now another NXT show on Friday nights to compete with Rampage.
Called Level Up.
Level Up, and it is only on Peacock. So I don't know what that is.
We just found out tonight.
Yes.
I am not the least bit surprised. They're going to milk every last penny out of this AEW and WWE war that they can.
It makes sense because SmackDown's not cutting it anymore. SmackDown is not
Literally
beating.
proof that SmackDown is failing.
Yeah, so they need something else to draw viewership, which also you're putting it on Peacock, which is the service that someone has to pay for. And if you are an AEW fan, the likelihood that you actually have a Peacock subscription is very low.
Zero.
Right? Like,
The logic here,
I don't know.
it's
Like,
baffling.
there were 2 different commercials for it during this 2-hour
We thought it
broadcast.
was another pay-per-view coming up. We were like, but then not really.
I don't know. But do you even have enough people to do another show?
Exactly.
Like you have 205 Live that's just sitting over there now, which is still technically a show.
Hit my head against the mic. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
What's the name of the multimillionaire that runs AEW?
Tony Khan.
Okay, between Tony Khan and Vince McMahon and their multi-billion-dollar pissing contest, we could do a whole episode.
Tiny dicks.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get political about it, but everyone outside of the wrestling world is like, meh, Elon Musk, meh, Jeff Bezos. Man, fuck Vince McMahon and fuck Tony Khan.
I mean, honestly, once I saw that, I immediately was like, nope, not watching it.
Yeah.
Why
in the world would we?
It is our brand, and I'm guessing at some point we'll probably cover it. But at the same time, I just think this is such a direct competition thing, and I just want them to admit yeah, we see what each other does and we're trying to one up each other.
Yeah,
just admit it, because the fact that you're saying oh, we don't see what the other one does, we don't care. We're focusing on what our company is doing. I'm like
that jealous girlfriend from middle school.
Yeah, I don't care what he does anymore. He can date whoever he wants.
I'm dating somebody else anyway.
I'm so much happier.
I'm happy.
That's exactly what it is. Oh man. But
I don't love him anymore.
Yeah, so
what?
I love when producer David just chimes in with random goat noises.
That's an old Eliza Schlesinger reference.
There
I
it
love
is.
her.
There it is.
No, absolutely. And so you can do that whenever you want, because I love her.
He almost did.
I know. But it's just, yeah, Dolph Ziggler wants a shot at the NXT title. So there's
that makes sense.
Which I'm like, yeah, that's definitely believable, right? Yeah. He's going to come on a Raw superstar is going to come on to an NXT show, win that title, and bring it back to Raw. I want you to do things that I'm going to actually believe can happen, and not just throw some shit at the wall and make me believe it's going to stick.
The dumb from the writers on SmackDown and Raw and for Elimination Chamber and all of that is starting to seep a little bit into the writers here.
It's the same ones.
So it is officially the same ones.
I mean, they're all
the same kids.
Yeah, they're the same kids. Yeah. Yeah, the second graders that are writing this, yes, they are all in the same class.
Oh god, I'm actually imagining Vince McMahon yelling at these little second graders
with a ruler being like,
that's some good shit.
Oh my god. Anywho, so North American Championship match.
Yes.
Best match of the night.
10 out of 10.
By far. It's Carmelo Hayes versus Cameron Grimes. And of course Cameron's in this, so we're going to love him.
Yay.
But Carmelo, he was over from the start, I think.
But he had some ways to go.
He did. He was very green when he started.
Yes.
But I really think, because this was another one that we were talking about that we felt okay, Cameron's going to carry this.
Yes,
It's going to be good because of him. They really worked well together.
I even wrote, beautiful pairing. They work wonderfully together.
Yeah.
They really do.
It was really
They
good.
matched each other's energy. They matched each other's speed. I saw Carmelo moving a lot easier. There was a lot of hesitation gone. Sometimes when he was with bigger guys, it wasn't, he would do the moves that were really high flying and all of that. But with this one, it was he wasn't even thinking about it.
Well, it's probably because Cameron and him have very similar styles. So they're both very I would say Cameron or Carmelo is chaotic neutral.
Yes.
And Cameron is chaotic, right?
Chaotic good?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he is now.
Yes.
He is a face now.
Early on, he was chaotic evil.
Yes. So you are better at D&D terms than I am. I really tried my hardest to make a D&D reference, and that definitely did not pan out.
Oh.
Chaotic is not a thing, right?
Oh, it will be now. I'm sure Dylan Rich can come up with a character that's chaotic.
I just thought about that when you said chaotic.
I knew what you meant, which is why I said
yeah.
chaotic evil, chaotic good, but yeah.
You know what? If I ever do D&D again, my character will be chaotic.
I love it.
I think you're just thinking of chaotic neutral.
Is that what
Like,
that is?
They'll just chaos either direction, whatever they feel like.
So sorry
see?
D&D people.
See, even I was incorrect.
Oh man. Anyway, Cameron had confetti money when he came out. That was pretty cool. with
Cameron.
with the Street Profits, when they do the like confetti with the solo cups, the first thing that I'm thinking of is like, oh my god, some stagehand is gonna have to mop up all of those. But with the money, for some reason, I didn't care.
Yeah, that's easier to sweep up.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. It didn't bother me as much because
Yeah.
I'm like, it's money. It's silly.
It's great.
With the solo cups, I'm like, okay, this is excessive.
It's also like, how do they even fall? Like, like it's not like
it's coming out at like such a velocity.
It doesn't have the pretty fall of like, okay, I'm getting way too into this.
It's okay.
Anywho.
So I mean, I don't know. There's a lot we could say about this one, but it is just like super duper good. And yeah, I mean, I gave it a 4.5.
I honestly,
to be honest, like it wasn't perfect.
no, I wasn't gonna go full 5, but if I could do 0.75, I would have.
I will not allow it.
Charles is on my side.
It doesn't
Thanks,
matter. Charles is not here. It is us. We are not doing points. We talk about this every show. We are not doing points like that.
What is that, David? Chaotic neutral?
You can't have 2.5 H's.
There you go. That's true. You have to commit to the full H.
Don't bring logic into what I talk about. That's no.
Don't bring logic into wrestling.
That's no.
Who does that?
Who does? Also, that was a lovely pour sound. That was.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. I
Oh
wasn't
no, it
even
was
thinking.
great.
But my big question for this match is like, where does Cameron go from here?
You did mention that.
I don't think they see him as a main event champion. I think they see him as a mid-card champion, and there's a place for that, right? But I the only thing that I did not like about this was the outcome and the finish of it. Like I really felt like Cameron should have taken this, because it wouldn't have hurt Carmelo at all to lose this match, because one, it was a really solid, good match.
It was.
Like, it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of false finishes. Like, all of them were hitting every single move. Like, it was super duper good. He was not going to come out bad if he lost this match. And Cameron has been floating around in this like mid-card land, right? He had the $1 million championship, but like it doesn't exist anymore, right? Like it never really fully existed. So he had that championship, but like now that one's gone because Ted DiBiase's gone. So he
was like, I'm done.
Yeah, which is fine. Like,
don't blame him at all.
As a legend should when they come back, right?
You come in,
you do your little thing, you build up the younger stars. Exactly. And you Mary Poppins it out of there, right? Like you just leave, which is fine. But I don't think they see him as a like NXT championship material.
See, it's funny because I was thinking the exact same thing about like how you could reverse that for Carmelo too. I don't know if they see him as that yet either.
See, I disagree with you. I think they do.
They do.
I think they do. Because he has looked strong consistently throughout, right? He has not had any dip. So he has had the Braun Breaker treatment when it comes to the North American title.
Yes.
Right? They have just kind of slid him in there, and there's no questions about it. We're just supposed to accept that this is who we're pushing, right? But I could see Carmelo going against Braun Breaker. I don't think they see Cameron going against him.
That's true.
So why not just have Cameron win this, have him be the North American champion, and then Carmelo move on? Because that's what the mid-card title is supposed to do. It's supposed to elevate people and showcase them and basically be trial for them to see if they could be seen as a main card belt holder, right? But with with Cameron, I don't think they see him as that. So why not just give him the North American belt and then have Carmelo move on and do something else?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make either one of them look weak.
That's fair. That is fair.
So I will be interested to see like where he goes. And I mean, I don't necessarily care if Cameron wins the top belt. Like, I just want him to have something.
Yeah, because you had said, well, he's gone through everybody else. Now what?
Yeah, it's the problem that WWE is having across the board.
Because they keep firing everybody.
With their with their champions, they just keep putting them up against the same people. So then their challengers don't look credible anymore because they keep losing.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see like who comes out of that. Like, does Roderick Strong go for it now?
Oh gosh,
like,
Roderick Strong.
Yeah, because he's still here.
I forgot about that.
You know, like I just can't. No one else comes to mind.
You know who
right now?
You know who could have and should have like come up, and actually I'm pissed that they were not more involved in this, was Dexter Lumis.
He wasn't on the card at all.
He had a vignette with Indy at the end of her match, and that was it.
Right.
I would kill to see more Cameron and Dexter Lumis stuff. And I'm not saying that they will do it anymore, but I'm saying like I feel like they see both of those men in the same light.
Yeah, I could see that because Dexter could be the next person to challenge Carmelo.
Yeah.
Because he was in the North American title picture when Johnny was still here and when they had that awesome ladder match when Bronson was still here too.
But I'm worried that they are starting to see him more like Cameron now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm worried about, is that he's not even on this. Like, he didn't even wrestle.
Well, they also didn't have a women's championship match
Yes,
either.
that is fair. That is true. Yes.
I noticed that about halfway through the show.
No, well, I just meant more of like where does he go from here?
I get you. Yeah.
Like, where does Dexter Lumis and both of these men go from now?
I don't know.
Guess we'll see. Guess we shall see.
So our next match is the men's tag team championship match, which was, it's not for the championship. It was for the Dusty Rhodes Classic final, which if you win, you get a shot at Imperium, who are the tag team champs now, which I'm fine with them. I love them.
We'll also talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
About that little promo they had.
So I actually missed the entire tournament.
Yeah.
And
I had not a clue.
I was just like, you know what? I'm taking a break from this show because it's just making me sad. And then when I decided to take a break, it was during the thing that makes me the most happy. So there's some irony there, I know. But so this was the final of that, and the women's is starting next week.
Yes.
Which is interesting because usually they run at the same time.
Yeah, I wonder why they chose that.
I don't know. But because they were advertising it during this show for the women's to start. I think it's
technically
technically tonight. I guess.
Technically no.
But so the finals match was between the Creed brothers, which are with Diamond Mine, versus MSK, and I felt like this was surprisingly a good match because the Creed brothers have kind of been definitely not the forefront of Diamond Mine because Diamond Mine did not have them at first. The two people that they had are now no longer with the company. So they had to completely change it up. And I feel like they're a better fit than the other two were, just because they're kind of more of the no, she is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going through my brain.
I was saying Tyler Rust and
there it is.
I'm so sorry, I can't remember the Japanese guy's name.
Yes.
But those two, they've been released.
Yes.
And they brought in the Creed brothers. I just feel like they're a better fit because the other two were more like Roderick Strong.
Yes.
And kind of more like fast and wiry and kind of, energetic, where these guys are just brute strength.
Yes.
Right?
They look like they don't speak a lot of English, but can mess some people up.
Yeah, and those are...
Or just speak in general.
Those are...
They just don't look like they speak at all.
I don't think they do. I think I've heard them speak once during a promo, and I was like, that's why we don't.
It's why we don't hear your voice.
But Malcolm Bivens
is
just a national treasure. He comes out to the ring, and he has this towel. And it says, never give up on it. like the John Cena towel.
Sounds familiar.
Right? Very uplifting, very, motivational. Then he turns it around and it says, nah, you should.
And see, that stuff gives me hope. And it's like, yes, this is good.
Yeah, it was a good match. I felt like MSK. I mean, I've been a fan of MSK for a while. They did the awesome push off spinny move that I still don't know the name of.
And they did it lovely on that match, or in that match, off of the ring.
They did it from the apron.
Awesome.
It was pretty great. And there was one move in particular with oh God, why am I blanking? It's not Wesley, but it's the other guy. No, sorry, it is Wesley.
Yeah.
Yes. So Wesley was on the apron and one of the Creed brothers just shoulder checks him off of the apron
and
onto the announce table. Oh. He just flew.
I heard his back reel line.
Yeah. It was great. It was really cool.
It was dope.
So the finish on this was kind of weird.
You had to go back and rewind 3 times.
I did, because I thought I missed it, because it literally looked like he just pounced on him like a cat and then pinned him. But apparently, from what I saw, it looked like it was a lariat,
because it wasn't
kinda.
a full chop, because his hand wasn't open. Mm-hmm. But he didn't run, because every time I see a lariat, I see someone running to someone.
The one that comes to mind
with the armbar across.
The crazy one that Brody Lee did.
Yes.
Where it was called, I think it was called the discus lariat, where he just ran from rope to rope, and then people just flipped in half. It was crazy. But they're usually standing, and one of the MSK guys was laying kind of almost like sitting upright on the ground, and then he did the lariat.
Yes.
It was really strange. I don't know if Nash Carter was supposed to be standing up instead of
something
sitting
just
down,
happened,
or if I don't. Anyway, it was weird, and there were a couple of other spots like that throughout. So I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah,
because it was all right, but there were enough things, and I'm like, okay, they just covered that,
nitpicky kind of things that we would see.
Sure. And I mean, it was good. It was fine. I gave it a 3.5.
That's fair.
It was still a good, fun match. The only other vignette that I will talk about is after this. We cut to commercial, the 15th commercial of the night. Lord have mercy. Because it was on Sci-Fi this time. Instead of the other channel.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that.
Because the Olympics.
Oh, yes. The Olympics.
The Olympics are going on.
The Olympics.
So we cut back from commercial, and it's Imperium, and they're standing in the middle of the ring. And for listeners who don't know, Walter is no longer called Walter anymore.
I hate it.
He is called Gunther.
Not Gunther. Gunther.
And everybody hates it.
We all do.
And
that
I don't understand it, I think is why I hate it. Because
why?
You had NXT UK. When you think of NXT UK, you think of the Walter chants.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was the longest reigning champion.
They literally did it after he said his name.
They did. So you have a built-in, I just don't understand WWE's philosophy of, okay, well, you're going to move up to the main roster now. So we're going to change your name. We're going to change your gimmick. We're going to change your look. We're going to change everything about you. And just completely forget and erase the entire year or two, or however long you've been in developmental. We're going to forget all of that, and we're going to erase all of the fan base that you've built up, because the people who are now chanting Walter sure as hell are not going to chant Gunther now, right? Because they're pissed because they want to chant Walter,
because Walter is badass. But I think that the reason behind it, as horrible as this is for rights of their name.
Oh, I know it is.
And it's just,
and that's why I hate it even more.
And that's the thing. It's it's not like it's because it's a creative idea. Mm-hmm. All of the names are shit that they give them after having a really badass name. Yeah. It makes no sense. They're this is this is as close as we can get to be really badass, and it's close to what your original name was. But it just, why? You have enough money. Stop being greedy.
There's no point in it.
Fucking dicks. Sorry. Sorry.
I think we just saw Gina break.
Oh.
What offensive fucking language.
Are you proud of me, Ma?
I mean, you should be proud of us.
There's
like,
a sentence I don't ever want to hear you say ever again.
Sorry, Sandra.
I think I think the host of the other show are rubbing off on us a bit. Oops. But yeah, they have a whole vignette where they're in the middle of the ring and Walter starts talking and they start booing him immediately because Alicia, the announcer, introduces them as Imperium
And?
with Gunther. And then he cuts her off and says, "It is pronounced Gunter." As you hear in the background, Walter.
Walter.
It's horrible.
Half Walters, half booze. Just straight booze.
I know, and I hate it because you can see that he's trying to make it work because he's been told to make it work.
You see the little fire in his eyes just slowly
Kind of
diminishing, a little
dying
bit.
just ever so slightly.
But this is the other reason why I was talking about the audience, because of this moment right here.
Yeah.
Because no, they don't want anybody chanting that.
Yeah, that's true.
They want Gunter.
No, we
which
don't.
We don't. No one does. But they do.
Yeah.
But not a single even the middle section was like, whoa. They were the ones freaking losing their minds the most about
They're
that.
like, no, we're not going
They're
to
like,
do this.
what are you going to do? Kick us all out?
The only good thing that came out of this was Solo Sikoa, a.k.a. the other Uso, came out, and it's now going to be him and Walter.
Which is
I'm
very
like,
exciting.
Okay, I'm okay with that. And
They did start chanting Uso.
They did, but he also said that he was going to make him his bitch, and it made me laugh.
You laughed so hard. He was like, I'm going to make you my bitch.
I was like, oh my gosh.
And I was like,
great.
yeah.
It was great. I loved it. So
See, classic promo stuff works for a reason, ladies and
he
gentlemen.
came in and he saved it, and it was
great.
So
I'm going to make you my bitch.
we also had Dolph Ziggler come in and cut a promo about Ciampa, but
Whatever.
it's fine.
And you love Dolph Ziggler.
I do. I really do.
I didn't want to bring up how heartbreaking that must be for you. How much pain you must be in.
Dolph Ziggler.
I'm having flashbacks to
can-
2000s Dolph Ziggler.
2010s.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I would say Dolph Ziggler is the original wrestling husband for me.
Oh, he was your first and true love.
I really feel like he was, and now I just don't.
Which is hilarious because
Yeah.
there's nothing about you that enjoys pink. Nothing. Nothing about you that enjoys pink.
I can't explain it to you.
Nope.
He came out and he just, I was hooked.
Your little wedding singer heart just exploded.
That's what it was. He was so wedding singer, and that's what it was. Absolutely. So our main event of the night was for the NXT Championship with Santos Escobar versus Braun Breaker. And Legado just looks so cool.
I did note either the goatee is different or his hair down is different. I'm so used to seeing it with something like I took me a second to stare at him. And be
you
like,
mean Escobar?
Yes.
Okay.
With Santos. Because I kept staring at him, being like, "Is something different?" Or I just haven't seen your beautiful face in that long.
It's that, and
Was it
I
like
think it's the
trimmed a
hair.
little?
It's
Okay.
because he usually has his hair back and he had it down.
I think that's because that's what I
Yeah.
wrote. I was like, "Is it the goatee?" Because it's not bad. I kept staring at him and he looked different.
But they all came out and they all
That
had the
outfit
suits
she
on.
had on.
It was awesome.
That
I had
honestly-
a moment.
that
I wanted that
honestly-
outfit so bad.
That honestly was going to be my runner-up EST.
Oh, really?
Was just that top she had.
Just the top.
Just that top she had. It's so for friends who haven't seen it, it's this beautiful, like, I don't know what the style is. Like, what I imagine, it's like that cottagecore kind of feel where it's like a peasant top almost feel, but it's crop top. So it's got like a poofier sleeve. And then like the style where it like goes around the cups and stuff.
It's the sweetheart neckline.
Sweetheart neckline, thank you.
With the like poofy sleeves.
Yes.
And it sounds not great.
Yeah.
Right? But like on her, it was awesome.
But it also was, when it turned and when the lights hit it, it changed and transformed from purples to greens to blues to, it was so hot. It was so cool. Yeah, that's
great.
my runner-up EST.
Is that top?
Is that top. Just the
Electra
top.
Lopez in that top.
And Electra Lopez.
Yes.
She's fabulous in that top.
I just wish that, because I saw that Legato, the tag team, went out in the first round of the Dusty Classic.
I don't know why they keep pooping on them.
I don't know what to do with them. I don't think.
But that's the thing. It's like there's so much they can do with them.
I
If they put
Yeah.
enough effort into it.
I think that's the thing.
They don't want to.
They just don't.
They just really don't want to. Because
Well, it's the same
Santos
with
Escobar is just money on a platter.
It's the same with the Grizzled Young Vets, right? It's the same thing.
That would be just put them together.
Love that.
Just go ahead and have them have a match.
Sure.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Book it. Let's run
Hunter.
it. So
Can I still call out to you, Hunter?
he still listens.
Okay, good.
It's okay.
I don't know what they're telling you, but you're still in charge.
You're still great. You're still in charge of our show. You're still in charge. So Braun Breaker, I think, had the most elaborate entrance of the entire night. He starts out what it looks like he's in a studio somewhere, and he lights this backdrop that is the big V, and he lights it on fire, which I'm
Yeah.
like, why was that not at the beginning of the show? Why was that not this? You know how they used to have those
Yes.
centerpieces that just stayed there the entire time, and sometimes they jump off of them?
Yes.
Like,
EO.
I was like, it was just a banner, like a graphic across the screen.
Yeah.
But for his entrance, he gets to light up the burning V. Like, it doesn't, I don't know.
That should have been the first thing we saw.
Well, he does that, and then
Of
it
the
cuts
night.
to him coming out, and there's smoke, and there's lights, and there's music, and
It feels like that Heels entrance when they got the new
Yes.
fog machines and it's like,
it's like 50 fog machines just all like turned into one like section of his entrance, and I was just like, this is
excessive.
this is a lot. Like, no one had any entrances, and I know why now, because it
No
all
one.
went to this.
Absolutely no one. Fog machines.
It's like it's the Cody Rhodes entrance, right? Like it's
Oh.
it's like nobody gets an entrance, but like he gets to like rise up from the ground, and the lights are on him, and he's like coming from heaven.
Well, not anymore.
I know, but that, I'm just saying in
But
past
yes,
tense,
it
like
is
that's
true.
what it was like, and that's what my mind went to
It's
immediately.
true.
And I was like, okay, I get he's your champion, but at the same time, you had 3 other sets of champions on this show, and they didn't.
but they're
get
not as important as the man one.
Okay,
obviously.
sure. That's the message that we're getting.
Yes.
But he came out to a lot of boos,
A ton.
which I don't know if this is
ton.
because we haven't been watching the main product, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah, not at all.
I didn't understand why
I
he had boos.
He was.
It was
the
consistently
champion.
throughout.
Yes, and like that wouldn't be fed in, right? They wouldn't feed that in.
I don't know. Sometimes they do pipe in boos when they want you to believe that this person's a heel.
But it's also
But
like, what has he done to be a heel?
That's the thing. I don't know.
So, and that might be just because we haven't watched and we don't know.
I don't know.
Sorry, listeners.
But it seems weird to me.
Because that middle section was getting pretty intense about it.
They were, but also if you think back to War Games, the 2.0 team were the heels in that match.
They were.
And that was something that we actually had an issue with, because the message that we got was that this new brand that we're forcing you to like are the bad guys.
Which makes no sense.
But
I mean, look,
if we're keeping that logic, then I'm okay with it, right? Because
yes.
if you're playing him as this big, huge monster that's coming in and just taking over and there's nothing you can do about it. That's that type of heel. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But again, I need to have a reason to not like you. Like, there needs to be a reason why I'm booing you. That's the whole escapism of it, right? Like, you have to draw me in and give me a reason to why
Don't tell me how to feel.
I do like you or I don't like you. Like,
Yep.
I have to make that decision.
Yes.
And
Don't tell me just to boo him.
Right. I need to know why.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe there's something going on that we don't know, but at the same time, it felt very out of place for me because Santos is usually the heel
I love that man.
in any match. I mean, the match that comes to my mind is him and Jordan Devlin for the unification of the cruiserweight title.
Man,
Still one of the best cruiserweight matches I think I've ever seen.
awesome.
But it was very clear who the heel and who the face was in that.
Yeah, this one, it felt like it was like they had wanted Santos to be the heel, but that the crowd changed and turned on him and made him the face. Which
it's weird logic. It's really weird. And this match was really good.
surprisingly good.
Yeah. I mean, Braun can move.
He's got speed, like honest speed.
Yeah.
That was not coming out in his other previous matches.
I think what bothered me the most, which actually brought the score down for me, are the really weird interruptions that you have. So, like,
yes,
we had,
because it didn't need it.
you had Elektra Lopez, who for some reason hopped up on the apron and was trying to distract the ref.
Yes.
And then after that happened, Dolph Ziggler runs in.
Yeah.
And spears Santos. Not Santos, sorry, Braun.
Yeah.
Spears Braun and then just runs out and is just standing there.
Which
right?
I don't get, because I thought, oh no, he wants
the title.
Yeah.
He does.
But okay.
So it makes sense as to why he runs out, but I just don't understand why we have to have these interruptions.
Yeah.
Because
they've
been
I'm
doing
sorry,
that
I was
lately.
mixing up the championships. Sorry.
So then, of course, that brings Tommaso out, who beats up Dolph on the outside.
To
And then
distract everyone.
There's confusion, and then Braun is able to spear Santos in half.
Yeah, that was intense.
Like missile out of a cannon.
Yeah, he
just completely shot out at him.
Take notes, Roman.
I mean, it was brutal. I mean, Dolph's spear was actually pretty good too.
He's always had a good spear. We've talked about that in previous conversations.
Yes.
Well, yes, quite right. Yes, quite right.
So he spears Escobar pretty much in half, and
He's
then
dead.
he does what I think they said the missile point. That's his finisher.
Sounds about right.
Which he has him on his shoulder, kind of like Big E style.
Yeah.
Right, for when Big E goes for the big ending.
Yes.
But instead of just dropping him,
He does. Oh gosh.
Braun flips him over on his back and then slams him. Which I'm sure you're like, yes, please, and I'm like, God, no.
I just got chills running down my back. Like, yes.
And I get chills in a different way for a different reason. Yeah, don't touch my back. Don't do it.
I'm like, please break all of it.
Break all my bones, please.
Oh, please pop all of them.
So it's just. So it was just a really weird, wonky kind of last 2 or so minutes. And I don't like the random running out. Like, I understand, like, he wants to go for the title and Tommaso doesn't want him to, and they're in a feud, and so he's going to come out. But, like, can't you do that at the beginning? Like, do you have to have it be in direct correlation with the finish?
Like, they always assume it has to be at the very end of the show with the
you're
main
least
event.
expecting it.
But when we obviously expect it at this point now, because that's how it's always written.
Right, exactly.
So anyway, it's just stupid. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
well-
It didn't need to, because they already had a segment earlier on.
Yeah.
They did not need to interrupt this match.
So not only did Dolph have an interview,
Tommaso did.
Tommaso had a full-on garage door promo.
Yeah.
Which was amazing because
Lovely, 'cause
he
it's him.
is great and awesome, and I never want him to leave. Because he's the last shred that I have holding on to this show.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling he's going up. I really do.
Up?
I really do.
Why? They keep obviously mentioning how old he is.
Yeah, but
They seem to finally be coming to their senses.
This is no indicator that this is like actually what they're thinking, because they have had people like Bronson Reed was on so many dark matches for Raw and SmackDown, and then they let him go. So I'm not saying that this is an indication that he's moving up, but he has been on he's been backstage a lot. He's been on Main Event. He's been in a lot of dark matches on Raw. So, and he was on commentary for Raw this past Monday. So
Interesting for commentary. I didn't realize that.
it was during Dolph's match. So
Interesting.
they're trying to play that feud up, which it makes sense. But at the same time, eventually, I think that is what it looks like.
Or what if, because he is getting to quote that certain age of a wrestler, he is just wanting to move into a commentary position and not retire.
I mean, I think eventually, sure.
Yeah.
I think he would be great at it as like,
But that's what I mean
as a
is,
color
like,
commentator.
If they plant the seed now,
Sure.
and he still wrestles, and then he can come back to it.
That's true. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I would love to hear him on commentary.
Yeah.
I might go and actually watch that. Not really. I lied to myself.
So I gave this match a 3.5.
Yeah, I went 3. Yeah, but 3.5. Yeah.
I gave it a 3.5 because they did work very well together, and I think any match that you put Santos in, he's going to elevate it and bring a lucha flair to it, even if his opponent is someone like Braun Breaker, who is not that style at all. But he's going to bring that flair to it. So, I mean, I still enjoyed it, even though I thought it was
I'll always enjoy looking at that man.
Oh, I know you do.
He pretty. He pretty.
I love it. So that was the end of the show.
It was.
It was pretty quick. I mean, I also did not talk about every single vignette.
No, we don't need to.
Because we didn't need to. It was a lot of exposition, and it was a lot of what I think they call character building. I'm putting in extreme air quotes here, listeners.
Yes, this is how we develop our characters.
So I'd give the whole thing like a 3.5.
Yeah, I was going to say
honestly.
3.5.
Because it was a lot better.
It has improved.
Than it has been. It was a lot better than some of the other ones that they did. It was definitely better than
There are some
Halloween Havoc.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. Definitely better than Halloween Havoc. Yeah, so do you want to move on to Ignorant Slut
Yes.
and EST?
Yes.
So which one do you want to do first? I don't think we have that one as a category. Do you want to do Ignorant Slut first?
Sure.
Okay, you go first.
Oh, no. I hate to say this. I really do. It's indie.
Oh, mine was indie too.
It's indie. It's indie. And
I hate it. I
it
do.
murders my soul to say that.
It does. She was the only one that did not show up, really.
That just either something happened, she just wasn't in the mindset, something was not working for her. And it showed visibly, even to a very devout fan.
Yeah.
And then I guess I was also just sad that I wouldn't give him Ignorant Slut, but it did hurt to not see Dexter wrestling, even in like a comedic match. Like, you know what I mean? Like it sucked to not see him there.
No, I agree. And I put Indy as mine as well.
Yeah.
She just didn't perform as well. And I don't know if it is the tag team with her and Persia.
Yeah.
Persia carried that match for her. And
literally, she carried 2 of the opponents on her back.
Exactly. And I think she just works better with Candace.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, that tag team was great. And I think she just works better. And I'm kind of concerned because I don't know like where else she fits unless it's in a tag team.
I was thinking that as well. And that makes me, because I don't think they see her as something that, like, as someone who can go higher. at all.
Well, the only belt that they have to go for is the women's belt. So,
yeah,
I mean,
there's no way.
Unless they do something to completely overhaul her, because right now she is just Dexter's wife, and that is
it was funny for the first little bit. Now I want to see.
Well, because she had a character before that.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked really well. So I hope that with the way not being there, I hope she can figure something out.
Yeah.
But yeah, my honorable mention for Ignorant Slut was just the fact that there was no women's title match
at all
on this card. There was no need for them not to have it. Like they could have.
This was a prime example of a time to do it.
Yeah, they could have legit taken out just 3 of the stupid vignettes, and that would have been enough time.
Really, though,
that would have been enough time.
You're so accurately.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
The fact that they didn't have a women's match, they had a tag match. But at the same time, they didn't have the highest of the women's, belts on there. No, not acceptable for me.
Not a pay-per-view, but you know what I mean. Like,
I don't even know what to call this. But
that's what I was saying, because I was like, this
specialty episode. Maybe, I don't know.
A limited commercial experience.
Yeah. So, who is your EST?
Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because I saw that it was not him being carried by Cameron.
Yeah.
And I saw the improvement. I saw, because he was so green and he had an amazing amount of talent when he started. He really did.
Yeah.
He is very talented human being. But there's something that just clicked when he was able to work with someone who was closer to his stature, closer to his size, and closer to his style.
Yeah.
That just really brought out the best in him. And I loved it. I love Cameron. You know I do. It was nice to see Carmelo really truly flourish. And
yeah.
I liked him a lot in this match. And he's my EST.
Well, good. Congratulations, Carmelo. This is the first time you've ever won EST.
Congratulations. Ding, 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 ding. Hey, y'all, hey.
Well, mine is a combo.
Ooh. We love a good combo.
It's the Creed brothers with MSK.
Really?
Yes. I thought that they really showed up, and I felt like them as two teams working together. I felt like it flowed really well, and this is the most I've ever seen the Creed brothers.
I was going to say, I'm excited to see more character come from them later down the road. Technically they're there. I just would like to understand maybe a backstory or something like that. But at the same time, I don't want them to muddy that up.
I don't.
You don't?
I just want them to stay silent and be brutal, to be honest with you. I feel
no, I want Bivens to tell the story.
I don't even want that. I just want them to stay silent and brutal.
Shut up.
And I'm fine with that.
Speak. You're a 300-pound monster, so you don't get to talk.
Exactly. And that's kind of why I liked Imperium, because they just, for a while, they didn't really talk that much, and they do beat the shit out of people, and it was
accents,
fine.
Though.
They do, which I'm fine with, but I don't think the Creed brothers do.
No.
So
they don't have pretty faces either. Sorry.
But
boys.
yes, so that's my EST.
That's lovely.
Yes.
I was surprised by the Creed brothers as well. They did pretty great.
I think overall it was good.
Yes.
It was better than fine.
It was a surprise.
Yes.
It was a surprise, uplifting kind of feeling.
And it actually kind of made me want to watch more, which I think is an improvement.
I don't
from
say
not
think.
watching it all.
I would definitely not say think.
Yeah. But also I wanted to bring up that I found out today that Drake Maverick has now re-signed with WWE. And that was something I wanted to work into this episode and not have a huge discussion about it, but I think on further episodes it will come up. I don't know where he's going to go. But yes, so in total, that man has now been fired and re-signed 3 separate times. So I have no idea what WWE's standards are for why you get released and who gets re-signed and who doesn't.
Why him?
I don't know. I literally, Chris Barnes from This Is a Work messaged me this afternoon, the news article about that. And I just wanted to like kind of work it in and be like, I think this might be something that we will cover in the future because he may come back to NXT, because I honestly don't see him anywhere else but NXT.
He did 205 Live.
Yeah, but that's also now kind of melded into
Exactly.
NXT because
Exactly.
there's a lot of NXT people who are on there.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. So I wanted to somehow incorporate that in there, and I didn't see a appropriate.
No, I think that was
Part
just
in the
perfect,
episode.
Perfect placement.
Yeah. So we'll see what that looks like in the future. We may be talking about him again. And listeners of this podcast, you will know that'll be very interesting talk because we have feelings about that man.
Not even that man, just the situation.
Yeah. But so David, I know we have some stuff coming up. So what's going on with Long Walk?
Well, in the next week or so, sometime hopefully in early March, we're going to be continuing on with our Perfect 10 discussion with Stan's next pick, which is a Korean film called The Host.
Oh, I've heard of that actually.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this
That
film.
sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I'm just basing it on his love of Korean horror, that it's going to be
it's
probably
Korean
gross.
horror?
It's horrifying.
Oh,
I have heard that it's
Would it
absolutely
pass
messed
the
up.
Shelby test?
No.
Almost certainly not, but I'll let you know.
Okay, good.
And just last night, we released the Elimination Chamber episode of This Is a Work.
I did listen to that one. That was a good one.
Otherwise, now that Romeo and Juliet is over and Katie's schedule is freed up some more, I'm going to keep threatening to do more Long Walk Teeny Talks.
Please
Talks.
stop threatening and do one.
Okay, just for you.
Just for me. I love Teeny Talks.
Aw,
I
well,
do.
thank you.
I love Teeny Talks.
All right, well, Shelby, if people want to reach out to you online or follow you online, where can they do that at?
Well, if you want to follow me personally, you can follow me on Instagram at SlayAllRay. And if you want to follow This Is a Takeover on Instagram, you can do that on This Is a Takeover and this_pod on Instagram. And if you want to follow just Long Walk Podcast in general, then follow us at Long Walk Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter.
Thank you very much. Gina, if you want to reach out to you or follow you online, where can they do that at?
Right now, all I've got is Instagram, and I have been so far off the radar for my own personal Instagram. But if you care to see all of the wedding planning process, whatever,
Or ask you questions.
or just ask me questions about life in general, you can find me at Broadway _ baby 1218. But yeah, that's really honestly it, because I don't have Twitter, so.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's
can't.
probably for the best.
No, I can't.
If you want to follow me personally online, you can do that on Instagram at DBHensley. If you want to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us, or you can search for Long Walk Productions and Long Walk Podcasts on Facebook. To see more of our original works or hear past episodes that are no longer streaming, you can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening, and if you enjoy the show or any of the shows on the Long Walk Podcast Network, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you are listening on.
All right, that'll do it for us tonight. So thanks for listening, y'all. For This Is a Takeover, I'm Shelby Ray Patterson.
And I'm Gina Bellmont.
And you don't have to be called up to the main roster. You're doing fine where you're at.
I mean, she's still got kids at home, and he's
Right.
got kids at home.
And that's-
but-
They're the same kids.